Right, that one. There you go. Right, got a camera in the a light box in the way. Never mind. Hello, good morning. Are we good? Right, so it's going to be. I'm going to introduce the ball today. We haven't done the ball for ages. I've still got my lanyard on. What am I like? So I think I'm going to do a little bit of work around hip and pelvic function, but also hip to knee function as well, and some work around ankle mobility. Okay, so normally, as always, let's think about warming up. Let's pop that ball between our ankles. Okay, and give it a gentle squeeze. What I'd like you to do here, and can you hear me okay? Can I just have a thumbs? We're all good? Lovely. Okay. What I'd like you to do is just pop enough pressure on that ball so it really forces your knees to align. So it really kind of forces you to think about your inner thigh muscles. Okay, once we've got that, I want you to think about the spiral from the inside arch to the outside of the knee, back of the knee, coming up through the inner thighs and into the hip, nice and tall. Once you're up there, I want you to think about just a gentle tuck under of the pelvis and think about your pubic line. I just want you to think strong and tall and drawn inwards and upwards. Okay, at the top of that, we like to open up through the collarbone, shoulders back and down. Lovely, good. Okay, roll those shoulders, chin tucked, gold thread through the crown of the head. Do you remember that? That's like lifting up as tall as you can so the arches are gently lifted through the feet. We're going to start by a rise and a lower. Big and second toe, just warm up through the back of the legs as we start to do this. And at the moment, it's quite a swift pace, up and down, up and down. This bit is mobility. Balance will start to kick in as we slow it down. So for the next 4, I want you to slowly rise and slowly lower. You'll notice changes here. You'll notice the knees are working, the thighs are already working because they're trying to keep you steady on your feet. So that focus always comes back to good balance. Okay, last time, up, down, down, and release off. Just squidgy your knees for a second. Okay, slide your knees down onto your kneecaps. Hold on firmly onto your kneecaps. Do a 360 in one direction and then the other. Keep squeezing that ball between your ankles. And what you may experience here is just that release of energy, flat feet. You're really bringing your knees forward when you circle. And for that, you should feel a lot of mobility in your lower limbs. Yes, we good? Okay. From there, straighten off the legs, come into a flat back. So just for a moment, think about of your feet. You instinctively put your weight into your heels, pull forward and just lengthen through your back. Okay, make sure that weight is in through the front of your feet. Lovely. And then fold. When you fold, hold on to opposite elbows, just dangle your head for a moment. And just a gentle move to the left, to the right, just swing there for a second. And notice things just stretching and giving and releasing and relaxing and lengthening. You got it. Well done. Release your hands, pop your hands back onto your knees. Your knees are bent. Your arms are straight. Circle again. 1, 2. 1, 2. Lovely. Last time, straighten off again. Really lengthen through your spine, put your weight through the balls of your feet, flat back, pull your belly into your backbone. Lovely. This time, bend the knees, pop your elbows onto the top of your knees, the bottom of your thighs. Clasp your hands. And then I want you to push your shoulders and back backwards. So your elbows are rested on your knees and you're just going to push back and enjoy a bit of a stretch between the shoulder blades. Chest, chin to chest, stretch out through the back, pulling your belly in. And now we rise up. So hopefully we're just starting to wake up through the back a bit. Let's take the ball. Take the ball around your body, 360 degrees, and then in the opposite direction. It's just a little bit of mobility to get us going. Just take off my glasses. Lovely. Keeping the ball at hip height. All we're doing here is releasing, warming up, releasing any tension and warming up through the shoulder girdle. Lovely. Now here's always the challenge, because everything I do involves a challenge, is to take your right foot. Now, I'd like you to balance it on the top of your left foot. You don't have to do anything fancy with it. It's not yoga. Okay, carry on with that ball movement. Okay, so straight away, we're starting to challenge that balance. So the next thing, keep going. I want you to pull your weight upwards so you're not sinking into that hip. You're up and you're still on the same side. Good. Okay. Now, that leg, not the supporting leg, the other leg that's lifted, I want you to take that out to the side and turn your knee towards me. So your one leg balance, still circling with your arms. Okay, good job. Bring that leg forward, carry on. Yep. Try not to sink into that hip so you're lovely and tall and lifted. You might be starting to feel this quite a lot in that supporting leg. And when you're ready, release. Good, 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 good. Okay, so we're going to repeat that on the other side. So rest your foot onto the supporting foot. Okay, so this time what I'd like you to do, just go a little bit higher. So when you rotate, you're roughly up at shoulder height around the front. But see if you can go slightly higher at the back as well. Now take your attention to your hip of the supporting leg and lift up. So we're not pushing outwards to the side, we're rising, growing, lovely and tall. So by now your shoulders are going, oh, hello. So what we can do is open up through the chest, keep that balance, and then take your hand switch ball, one high, one low, one high, one low. Or just drop the ball. Lost it today. Right, two. There you go. So two highs, two lows. There you go. Right, okay. From here, let's take that leg and float it off to the side. So we're not opening up through the pelvis, so it's important the knee is still facing towards me, okay? So carry on. Let's go back to that first movement, circling the ball around the back. Now that's interesting because that is making my hip ache quite a lot here on my supporting leg. I've noticed a difference between leg 1 and leg 2. Ooh. Also, I've noticed that my balance is challenged. And these are the things that we have to work on. Recognize where there's strength, but also understand where there's weaknesses and what's going on there. Can we change it? Bring that leg forward. Same thing. We're still wrapping the ball around the body and we're still working on our balance. Oh, yeah, there you go. Not to mention grip. Well done. Release, relax. And go, oh, that was a bit of a surprise, right? Okay, so still with the ball. We're going to pop it down onto the floor, and it's your right leg that's doing the work. Now, we haven't done this in a little while. Okay, we start with the ball on the outside of your left ankle. With eyes on me, you're going to take that ball around the foot, out to the other side, and back around again. So use your skill sets to do this. Okay. I've explained this to you before. This is a maneuver that we use in ankle and knee rehab or lower limb rehab. There's a little piece here around proprioception, so where our body is in space. Lovely. And again, what you might notice, there's a little bit of fatigue that's starting to kick in around the hip of the supporting leg. When you're ready, we switch sides. So right leg on the floor, take the ball to the outside of the right leg. And then again, eye gaze forward, not downwards. So feel it, move it, roll it. As we become more familiar with the movement pattern, then we can start to look at how we can make the body bigger, deeper. So in a moment, we are going to switch sides. That's really interesting. I'm definitely seeing my weaknesses on my right hip. Feeling okay? And release. Right, we're going to repeat that. So we're familiar. So brain has gone, yeah, I know what's going on now. But this time, what we're going to do is enable the supporting left leg to be deeper. So I want you to bend at the knee, make this circle bigger around you. Use your arms for balance and really start to think of more complex, make it more of a complex movement, and see where possible to feel it rather than see the ball. One more time, right the way around, use the knee, use your arms. Lovely, lovely. And finish on the outside. Well done. Woo, I'm going to pop the fan on as well. It's all happening in here today. Right. So we're on the right supporting leg. And we are going big. We're thinking about bending the knee of the right leg, looking at depth, looking forward where possible. I might be cheating a little. Why am I cheating? Because I can actually see myself in the camera. Oh, we've all gone quiet. Oh, is that just me? Okay. Feel that? Last time, finish around the front, right side, outside of the right foot. Well done. Come back to center. Okay, pick up the ball for me. Okay, let's have a look at shoulder work. So what I'd like you to do in your lovely tall position, feet in neutral, feet in line with knees, knees in line with hips, nice and tall, engage the abdominals. From neutral, arms come forward. We're going to stretch out or separate the shoulder blades, and then we're going to draw the shoulder blades together. Nothing else moves in your body except for your shoulder girdle. Two extreme movements here. So we're thinking as far forward and far backwards. Yeah, got it? So you might feel a bit pinchy in some areas. You might feel a little bit unstable around the movement. It will feel more jaggedy than smooth. And we need to think there's a lot of muscle connections and crossovers around the shoulder girdle. So just take your time with this. And again, you will fatigue quickly because these are some of those smaller movements. Lovely. Okay, so from there, let's have a look at just introducing some extension work. So to explain myself, hip flexion is this. So we're flexing at the hip. Hip extension is this. So we're taking the leg backwards. Now, what often happens, more often than not, that we're spending more time in flexion because of lifestyle. The same goes for spine flexion. So spinal flexion, leaning forward, leaning down, spinal extension, here we're starting to look up and look at more of a back bend. So let's start with the lower spine flexion extension at the hip joint. And what I'd like us to do here is to take the ball behind your left knee, and we're going to bring it forward. So there's a balance going on here and then a backwards. So hold and clench that ball between your knee, and we're swinging it forward and backwards, thinking about the inner thigh at the same time. So we're bringing it forward and backwards and forward and backwards. Got it? Okay, thinking about the inner thigh throughout that movement. And what I mean is, as you hold and grip that ball between your knee, what will often happen is the knee will drift out into the diagonal. So really think about keeping that closeness to your supporting leg. Okay, release, relax, good job. Switch sides. So we take the ball into the back of the knee. A flexed knee is always a better knee. A flexed foot is always a better foot, because with a flexed foot, we got better chance of holding on to that ball. Okay, same thing, just bring it through and back. Think about inner thigh. And with a shorter lever, so rather than a whole leg, that's quite tiring, shorter lever, more focus. So we're really thinking about what's going on in the back of the knee here, and it wakes up those smaller muscles that are in your low back and bottom. Are we good? Yeah? Okay, and take a rest for me. Good work. Okay, so seeing that we do have this ball, let's come into a wider stance. What I'd like you to do is to bend the knees slowly, tap down with the ball, and then reach up towards the sky. So tap down. So a couple of tips here: the wider your feet are, the easier in some respect it is to go. So what I'm looking for as you lower down, what I'm looking for is a lovely lowering rather than a lean forward and touch in. So I need to see these knees kicking in, okay? So a tap down and a reach up. Tap down, reach up. What you might notice here is a little bit of breathlessness that is starting to come on. And that's important to understand. It's normal. The movement pattern that you're doing right now is using a lot of muscle fibers, and for that to happen, you have to increase your breath rate to be able to get oxygen to all those cells that you are actioning. So it's a big move, and you will be breathless. So that bit's normal, okay? Now give me about 2 or 3 more of these. Now think it's more knee, less lean. So it's more of a knee action. Lovely. Now we do 3 taps, 2 taps, 1 tap to chest. 3 taps, 2 taps, 1 tap to chest. Do 1, 2, 3. Rise. Keep going and think about, again, it's not a lean, it's a drop. So we're keeping the shoulders aligned. We're keeping the upper body nice and in control with those lovely Pilates shapes. Last time, 3, 2, 1 to chest. Catch your breath. Okay, lovely. Oh, she's in a cheeky mood today. Right, so just a little bit of cognition, brain gym here. We're lifting left knee, right knee, left knee, right knee. So it's a figure of 8. We feed the ball under left thigh, right thigh, left thigh. Now, here's the thing. We're not leaning. We're nice and tall. We're bringing the knee up. We're not bringing the chest down. We're bringing the knee up through the movement. Okay, switch direction. Over, under. So we're bringing the knee up, nice and tall. So what you might be experiencing is tension or release around the back of the hip, Also that breathlessness, also a little bit of concentration. Lovely. Well done. Give yourself a moment. Let's come down into a kneeling position. Sit back for a second. Woo! Right. Are we all good? Beautiful. I'm just going to grab my water and a hair clip. In a house full of women, can I tell you how many times we lose hair clips and bubbles? And it turns out there's always one attached to us somewhere. You know, it's always like a hair thing and a hair clamp attachment somewhere. Right. Okay. So we got the ball. Okay. I don't know about you, but I'm warm this morning and I'm not complaining. Okay. Let's just do a little bit of shoulder stabilization. So just watch for a second. So 4-point kneeling. I just want to have a look at what's going on around the shoulder girdle. So, and I'm going to do it using a ball. So I'm going to press down and release. And the reason I'm doing this, sounds like there's a lot going on. I'm thinking about power in the wrist. I'm thinking about opening up through the palm, but actually that pumping action through the shoulder and its connection to your core muscles. So when you press down, push, I want you to think about that connection with your pelvic floor and pulling your belly into your backbone, okay? So press and release. Press and release. Now, what will happen is, in a minute, I want you to think about your knees starting to take the weight off. So as you press down, your shins and your front of your ankles are starting to take the force and the lift. Does that make sense? So you have a stabilizing arm, and that one's not doing anything. It's just really keeping you strong. And then as you press down, you've got a lifting arm. And you can see my knees are coming off the deck. Now, I discovered this when I was starting to rehab my own shoulder. Release, relax, sit back, release that hand, because you're like, oh, that's a bit of an awakening, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to repeat on the other side. So again, and for me, again, there's a fear caption that kicks in. One side you're nailing it, the other side you're like, oh, I'm not so sure. Start with that pump and press action. So push down, and as you start to familiarize yourself with that movement, you're pressing your shins and your ankles into the ground. You're starting to allow your pelvic floor and those deep core muscles to take the power. Now, keep going. You've got about 4 or 5 more to go on this side. Bit of a surprise, isn't it? Yeah? Well done. Release, relax, and give yourself a moment. Oh, that is a bit of a surprise. Okay. Thank God. She's up to no good today. Okay, always. So I know some of you aren't such a fan, but what I talked about was that hip flexion. And we've done some very specific mobility work to open up the back a little. What I'd like us to do, and Sue, opt out if you want to, is to pop the ball underneath your boobs at the bottom of your ribs. Okay. And we're just going to settle there. Does that make sense? Oh. Because straight away your back will go, oh, I'm not sure. So gentle rock side to side. My feet, because I got a bit of chunk in my thighs. I'm going to try and work my feet towards each other, knees towards each other. And I'm just rocking side to side. and breathe in, relax in, and I can feel tension leaving around my hip area. Just this gentle rock side to side. Now, what I'm going to propose is that we just simply roll. So I want you to come forward and just see if we can relax off here. Now, again, Sue, I know this is not your favorite thing. Work through breathing here. The reason is you've got some cheeky little muscles that are not on the outside part of your back, but they're on the inside part of your back and spine. And those muscles are against your vital organs. So, and by rolling forward, you're getting to stretch at them a bit deeper. They're very difficult to massage superficially. Try and relax your bum cheeks, because by now they would have created big tension in your bum cheeks. So try and relax your bum cheeks as you just lean over there for a second. Elaine, you're another. See how you get on there. Okay, now come back up onto your elbows. Your elbows are directly under your shoulders. What I'd like us to do is just simply allow a little flick to bum. And I know I've been doing this with you for a little while. So heels to bum, elbows under shoulders. Just making sure we're not sinking into our shoulders, and we're just allowing just a little bit of a flutter kick. 1, 2, 1, 2. If that's too much right now, just literally go one at a time. 1, release, 2. If you feel that you could progress it or incorporate a little bit speed, feel free to, but still ensuring that we're really working on tightening and shortening the hamstring muscle, the back of the thigh, bum to back of knee. Okay, well done, and roll. So when we roll, it's a 90-degree turn to me, and pop that ball onto underneath your rib. When you're ready, in your own time. So bottom of rib, so that space where the rib ends and the hip starts, and then we're just going to slide over. So we're lovely and stacked. Knees are slightly bent. Top leg is now going long. Okay, that's nice, isn't it? Okay, so straight away your balance is being compromised. So you're floating. Top leg lifts. We're just going to lift and lower a little bit. Now again, because we've changed the shape of the waistline, we're enhancing or introducing slightly different muscles than we did last week when I tried to murder your hips. Taking your hand away from the ground also increases that focus on balance and core work. Lovely. Up and hold. Now, we're going to hold the stillness, but the leg, the top moving leg, is going to come forward and backwards. And as it does that, we're going to try and keep as still as possible or not fall off that ball. Now, what you might find is that you're not actually moving very far at all. But your balance is being thrown. So there's a natural curiosity with the spine where it just wants to compromise the movement, lean in as your leg goes back, lean back as your leg comes forward. We're going to try and fight that and make sure the core is just holding all that tension on as you sweep your leg forward and backwards. Okay. Okay, hold it slightly backwards. So it's not down the midline of your yoga mat, it's just gone back a bit. Hold that. And now we're going to allow the heel to pulse up, up, up. Good job. Oh, there you go. Cheeky, innit? 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. It feels really heavy. 2, and release. Good job. Bring that knee forward. Well done. Okay, not quite done here. Okay, your top arm, your top arm comes over, fingertips touch,
And we're going to just see if we can just stretch the body as long as possible. Okay, so really focus on keeping your fingertips connected and your toes connected, and see if we can lift that bottom heel off the ground. I'm just trying to hold that position for 8, 7, go long and lifted, 5, 4, 3, 2, and release. Hold on. It's a bit sneaky, isn't it? On the other side. Right. When you're ready, we're just filling that little space. So bottom of the ribs, top of the hips. I like that in that first minute or two, because it really creates that space in my back. Like, oh, that's nice. Okay, so we're holding that balance. Oh, I love that. It really feels nice in my hip. Okay, right. Top leg long. I'm just going to just do a handful of lifts and lowers. Just to get us going. Thinking about the stillness that is with the upper body. That's all right, isn't it? And you feel that lovely separation, that can really feel the space between the ball and the socket in your hip. Lovely. Okay, now holding that balance, we're just swinging that leg forward and backwards. And we're pretty much balancing on that ball, slow and controlled, and the upper body is beautiful and still. We're having to work hard to stabilize and fixate here, just creating those beautiful movements. Focusing on that balance. Lovely. Last time. Start to get that. Take it back and back. Okay. So the leg is no longer in the midline. It's just gone back a little bit. The heel is the piece that's really driving the height of the movement. And now we've got those pulses. Now, again, that tiny little bit of internal hip rotation, where the kneecap is pointing more towards me or the floor. Now suddenly you'll feel that space opening in the bottom of the hip, and that is intense. So a little bit of burning. Whew. Keep yourself nice and balanced with that upper body. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. And now we're going to do that thing where we just, we swept forward and backwards, didn't we? Oh, there was me concentrating so much. Okay, so now we are straightening off that bottom leg. Arm comes over, fingertips touch, and see if we can get that bottom leg lifted. Make like a long floaty stick. Hold that position. Keep holding. Maintain that. Keep the leg high. And then release. Good job, team. Roll onto your back, or have a sip of water before you do so. You feeling good? And how about you? Oh, my hip hurts. Right, okay. I've done this for ages. And funny old thing, Annie, when I do this, I think of you. Because I just remember those days when we used to use the ball a lot, didn't we, in group? Okay, so we're lifting the hips and we're popping that ball on the bottom of the pelvis. Okay, so not above your knickers, nice and low. So that ball is really at the bottom of your spine. When you're ready, you bring up leg 1 and then we bring up leg 2. So we've adapted the movement. Here we think about the pelvic floor and we lift and feel that engagement through the pelvic floor. Right leg comes forward, really low. Pull in through the arch of the right leg, left leg goes forward.
Lovely, lovely. Bring it in. So in a moment, we're going to put in a little bit of a complex pattern. So right arm overhead, left leg extend. Right leg overhead, right leg extend, left arm overhead. So, but thinking all the time, how does my back feel? Pulling your belly in towards your backbone, feeling supported. So you need that contraction right away around your corset as you perform the movement. Now, if it's too much with arms, take arms out or keep arms towards the ceiling. Exhaling as you lengthen. Inhaling as you lift. Have a little play with this. We're going to be here for another 30 seconds. Making sure your extended leg is nice and long, pointing towards the skirting board. So it's really skimming. And then what you get is that lovely stretch through the front of the hip flexor at the same time. And you've got all that lovely control. So all of your back is taking this and enjoying this. Last time, knees to chest and give yourself a bit of a hug. Okay, so the hips are elevated, so we'll have a go. Legs towards the ceiling, we're just going to flex and point for a second. And let's have a look at a little bit of flossing here. Take your arms to your sides, chin to chest, toes point. Flex feet, head down. Chin to chest point. Knees straight, squeeze thighs. Flex feet, head down. Point toes, chin to chest. That. Last time. Okay, when you're ready, just see if we can just allow the legs to drift closer towards the face. So if you want to, you can just pull that ball further up your back. So here, a little bit of gravity, focusing on straightening out through the knees, letting that fluid drain out of your ankles, pointing and flexing the feet, alternating. I've put my hands overhead. And I'm just enjoying this for a moment, pedaling my feet, straight legs, and my feet closer to my face than they are the ceiling. Okay, so now we're going for a little walk. Tiny little shuffle, right leg, left leg, right leg, left leg. Okay, now we're going to walk away from the body. So towards the ceiling and now maybe towards the wall in front of you. Oof. If you want to, we can slow this down and make it bigger. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Okay, hold it there. Pull your knees into chest for a second. Okay, so the feet are going to come onto the floor. Lift the hips, bottom comes down, put the ball between the knees. Okay, so we're going to put some focus now into just above the pubic line. Okay, so to do this, we need to think everything else is nice and strong and locked down. So we're looking to firstly take the weight off your, contract through your center and take the weight out of the soles of your feet without letting your feet leave the floor. So there's a full-on isometric contraction here. Everything is tight and tense, and then we let it go. So create that tension, take the weight out of the soles of your feet, feel the whole of your core muscles building up, loads of tension, pulling up your pelvic floor, And then let it go. And you should feel that. You should feel quite a difference between tension on, weight out of the feet, contracted through your center, and then relaxing and letting it all seep out. Let's do that one more time before we start to put some isometric movements. So contraction under tension and release. Good. Okay, hands go wide, palms down. Brace through your center, pull your belly button in, and we're looking to lift the knees off the floor, feet off the floor, and draw the knees towards the chest. Keep squeezing the ball between your knees. Touch down, don't relax. So touch down, breath in, contract, pull it all inwardly and upwardly, and lift again. What starts to happen is that we start to lift the bottom. As the knees come closer to the chest, use your hands, press into the ground and pull hands into ground. As the knees come into chest, just see if you can get a bit of a bottom lift. So we're pushing. And we're trying not to make it too fast or inertia. So we're just flowing through that movement and flowing through the lowering. Now, if you're finding this is just a tad too much, you're not here, you're all doing it lovely. We got 2 more of these. Well done. Lovely. Stay there, keep that ball between your knees. What we're going to do is take your knees to one side. Keep the ball stacked. Now your top arm comes up, overhead, round the back, shoulder blades melt towards the ground. Keep holding onto that ball between your knees. We'll come all the way back up and over. Okay, one more time, sweep the hand overhead, melt the shoulder blades. Look away from your knees as well. Keep the ball between your knees. You're welcome. Come all the way back. Lovely, lovely. Okay, now we're going to take those knees and we're going to come all the way up to center, to sky. So we're back up in half tabletop. God, that kills when you're on a microphone belt. Right, okay. And we're going to come back the same way, okay? So contract through your center, arms wide, let the knees come all the way down. And then come back to 90 degrees. Same side. Going all the way over, keeping the ball between your knees. Come back. Half tabletop. One more time this side. Come all the way over. Hold the ball between your knees. And here we go, back to center. Now we're going to take the ball onto the other side and stretch out for a second. So the ball drops away from me. Okay, hands or fingertips touch. Top arm comes all the way up and over. And just settle, looking away from your knees. Bring the arm back overhead. Fingertips touch. All the way back overhead. Keep the ball between your knees. Enjoy that. Should be a nice stretch. Come all the way back over. And now use your core contraction. So bring the knees up into tabletop. And then all the way back over. Come back to center. And release. Last time. Take the ball out between your knees. Pop the ball between at the back of your right knee and clench it there. Left foot onto the floor. Okay, so from here we're pushing up and down. So driving out of your heel on your left leg, we're pushing our body weight off the floor so we come into a single leg bridge. So we push up, driving into the heel and keeping that contraction on, keeping that ball stuck behind your knee. Up and down, up and down. 2 more. Last time. And release. That's not so bad, right? Switch sides. Tuck the ball behind your knee, press the heel into the ground. Here we go up and down. So lots of work today in flexion, hip flexion and hip extension. Lovely jubbly. 2 more, nice and high. Last time. And release. Take the ball away, hold on behind your knees. Okay, so what I'd like us to do here is to, if you can, both legs, but hold on through your big toe, inside arch or outside of foot. Bent knees, a lovely happy baby stretch. A gentle rock side to side. Too much, then adapt. It might be that you just want to work with one leg at a time. That's fine too. In your own time, we start to breathe. Breathe out. Stretch legs. Now, if you find that it's too much to grip, what you can also do is take your hands into the inside of your thighs and use your hands just to apply a little bit of pressure. Flex feet, heels higher than toes. Relax your ankles. Feet to floor. Okay, straighten right leg. Pull left knee into chest. Take your straight left leg onto the floor towards me. And see if we can get your shoulder blades onto the ground. So you've got your left leg across the midline of your body. And then we're looking to look in the opposite direction. Okay, go back to center. Well done, team. Okay, so hold on to your right knee, pull it into chest, straighten off your left leg. And when you're ready, extend your right leg, take it across the body, across the midline. Oh, good to move. I forget I've got giant limbs. And see if we can get your shoulder blades towards the floor. So just keep twisting, just keep twisting. Oh, is that swimming? Okay, when you're ready, we're going to roll onto our bellies. push ourselves up into child's pose, or up and back into child's pose. Well done, team. Some of you are still lying on the floor. Okay, so just as we start to come to an end, what I'd like you to do is to curl your toes underneath your heels and push back, just to get that lovely stretch to the arches of the feet and the toes. When you're ready, we're going to come up into downward dog. So lift the knees, push back, a lovely triangle position. I want you to think about just tucking your pelvis under a little bit. So use your body weight to push backwards. And then see if you can just tuck your pelvis under a little bit to increase the stretch in the back, increase the stretch to the back of the knees. Well done. When you're ready, come down onto your knees and then bring yourself into a seated position or lie down. Just a little bit of relaxation. It's me trying to sit on a ball, by the way. Making yourself comfortable and just slowing the rate of your breath. Just keep focusing on slowing the rate of breathing. Think about where your body is making contact with the ground. Think about the connection to your body and the air. Think about any sensations around you, maybe a breeze or sunlight. Think about filling the whole of your body with each breath in. And it might be that you feel like you're filling up areas. So with your long breath in, feel that breath start to move and saturate and fill aspects of your body. And then as you breathe out, draw that breath out from all the extremities. So this is just about really switching in to that slow breathing that really helps to support stress and to support mindful breathe practice or breath practice. Be conscious or just notice where the breath is coming in through the mouth or the nostrils. The right nostril or the left nostril. Training the breath to move down into your abdomen. And setting those focuses for your day. Recognizing your own strength. Reminding yourself of your own capabilities. Seeing where your values are. When you're ready, take your awareness to your toes and create some movement at your feet. Repeat that with your hands. Maybe your neck. Think about your shoulders, your shoulder blades. And think that around your pelvis. Relax in your pelvic floor and then engage in your pelvic floor. Think about making the movement slightly bigger, drawing maybe one or both knees into your chest. Making some circles with your knees. Rolling onto one side, giving yourself a moment. And then pushing yourself up into a seated position. Long breath in and sigh. Taking your arms out wide. Clench, not clench, entwine your fingers. Turn your fingers inside out, palms towards the ceiling. Draw some circles with your thumbs. Reach your hands out wide to the side, but the heels of your hands down, the palms of your hands away towards the walls. Hold on to your opposite elbows and pull your arms apart by holding onto your elbows to feel that tension on, and then release. And then give yourselves a round of applause. Well done. You're so beautiful. Bear with. Oh,